Hi, I'm the Mitten, and you're listening to the Mitten on Knittin. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to episode 19 of the Mitten on Knittin. There's 57 days to Rhinebeck, so let's see what I've been up to. In loose threads this week, first I'd like to say hi to Kristen at Crazy Knitter Studio podcast. Kristen listened to my podcast and sent me a little note, and so I stopped over at her site on Ravelry, the Crazy Knitter Studio podcast thread group, and it was like a blast from home. She's from Detroit, Michigan, and has a lovely family. They live there, and her accent sounds just like my mom's family. So it was a wonderful thing to sit back and listen to her video casts. They're right on the threads, really easy to get to. So when you go to the group on Ravelry, you just go to each episode, and right in the top post is a link right to her video podcast. Really simple. And they made me laugh. And unfortunately, she is a Michigan Spartans fan, not a University of Michigan's fan, but, she said that it was okay for me to go ahead and listen, even though I'm a U of M fan, and she's a Spartans fan, but, that all being set aside, I think you should go give it a listen, because to me it was a hoot and a half, and I really enjoyed her video casts. In other loose threads, I stopped by to see my girlfriend, the one who started the breakfast at Rhinebeck tradition with me, and we got to talking about Rhinebeck, and she's making sounds like she's going to come this year. So that'll be exciting. I'm just thrilled to be able to go with her, because we had so much fun when we went, and I'm hoping that'll go through and that she'll be able to attend. Also, I was thinking, since I finished my competition skeins, that I had a little spare time, so I was going through my fleece, and this year's competition, it's merino or rambouillet, so I have a portion of a rambouillet fleece, so I pulled that out this weekend, and I'm thinking about washing and carding and spinning that up and entering that as well. But that's no pressure spin, so I'm not anxious or worried about that or anything. Just kind of excited, because it is a really lovely little piece of fleece. So that's that for loose threads. In what's fit in the mitten, this week it was socks, and the Jared Flood Gainsey scarf for a pillow on the train, because we're in yet another heat wave, so no big deal. Mr. Mitten actually put the air conditioner up in my, I'll call it my spinning room, so I could stay nice and cool. That in combination with the fan blowing the air around, it hasn't been too horribly bad up here, so I'm pretty happy about that. Nice and cool, and but it doesn't change the fact that the weather has been in the 100+ feel-like temperature, as they call it, because it's really high humidity. It's just been awful out. But it's only our second or third high temperature of the year, so I'm really not going to terribly complain about it, because I know that when it comes to winter and it's in those below 0 days for day after day after day, it's so much worse than what you can do with air conditioning. You know, you can always cool off in AC, but it's sometimes hard to get this 200-year-old house to heat. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. So socks and the scarf. What have I been knitting? I've been knitting the ribbon shawl and the 2016 sweater, and that's really it. And I've been doing pretty well on it, and I didn't get all the way up to the shoulder on the sweater, but I am on the back. So hopefully my goal is for this week to get the back finished up to the shoulders and be ready to start the right side. I am scheduled to be in the office all week, so if everything goes well, I will be. And so I'll get, I'm hoping to get at least 6 to 9 hours of knitting, which should be plenty of time if I can get myself to bed on time so I don't fall asleep on the train. So that's what I've been knitting. In spinning, I was looking over my notes, and every week it was spinning nothing, spinning nothing, spinning nothing, and I started to feel kind of guilty about that I hadn't been getting any spinning done. And I'm in one of the Ravelry groups I'm in is Sweets Off the Wheel, and every month we set a goal of what we'd like to accomplish for the month. And I find it really helpful to have goals for my fiber, because it helps keep me moving forward on it, and it doesn't just sit there. And it's really nice to be able to, chit-chat with other folks about what's going on with their fiber as well. And so I had set a goal this month of pulling the brown merino out and spinning on it. And when I looked at my wheel, I saw that hip strings beacon buoy sitting there just saying, "Finish me," because I only had a half a braid left to do. So today I sat down after I finished up everything. NPR was canceled this morning because the station had a lightning strike, which wiped out some of their electronic equipment. Woo! Good for me, bad for them, because it freed up a few extra hours. So I finished up all my chores early, and was able to come home and sit and spin. And because it had been sitting on the bobbin, most of it had been sitting on the bobbin for so long, I felt it was rested enough, so I went ahead and plied that up right away. So yeah, that turned into 138 yards of 2-ply. So that's the hip strings buoy in Beacon, which is this greens and browns, nice little tweedy look to it. And so that's the last of that. Not quite sure what it's going to be. I'll re-measure out how much of it I have once it's had its spa bath, and we'll take it from there. But I think the spin on it came out really good. It was a medium spin. It's about 10 wraps per inch, and it'll fluff up a little bit once it's been washed and everything. So yeah, got some spinning done. Felt really good about that. In finished this week, I finished the ribbon shawl. I finished it up, I think it was Thursday. Very excited to have that all done. I finished ahead of Kath, but but that's because I have more air-conditioned knitting time than she did this week. So, okay, I guess it's fair. She's almost done with hers also. And I think it came out really nicely. And I'm pretty pleased with it. Pretty pleased indeed. And it just went along. It just went along. And it's got a good amount of stretch to it. So I'm going to block it out, you know, as much as I can, stretch it as much as I can, not overstretch, but really push it, and I think it's pretty. The leaves look like leaves, so that's a good thing. And now a word not from a sponsor. Yarnitecture, the newest book from Jillian Moreno, is 240 pages of planning and building tips and techniques, from the exploration of fleece, bats, and roving, through drafting, plying, and finishing. Jillian helps guide you through to your perfect yarn, even including 12 new patterns by leading knitwear designers to show off your finished product. Yarnitecture by Jillian Moreno from Story Publishing is worth the read. Get it now on Amazon, or stop by to see Jillian in person at Rhinebeck. In Stash Up Down this week, no stash up, no stash down, just staying the same. Well, I guess you could say it was stash down because I did finish the skein of Watercolors 2 by Periwinkle Sheep, Autumn in the Hudson Valley, which is golds and rusts and yellows that look like the fall leaves on the trees in the Hudson Valley and at Rhinebeck. So that skein got finished up on the ribbon shawl, which was really great. And that's it, though. There weren't any other. Oh yeah, the hip strings buoy beacon. So that's finished up out of the fiber stash too. I'm gonna have to update my stash page on Ravelry. Okay, so stash down. Yay. Where I want to be this week? I really want to be at Rhinebeck. I want fall and cool weather. I don't want to give up the time, 8 weeks. I'd like 8 additional weeks of fall. That would be lovely. But I'm really looking forward to the festival and getting more and more and more excited, especially if my friend Lauren can come to the breakfast. That would be fantastic. And excited, but still nervous because I have not finished the sweater yet. So, it's a conundrum. I want to be at Rhinebeck, but I'm really not ready yet today. Let's move on to Grabby Paws. Grabby Paws, stuff I want to get, but probably won't. I was looking at fiber. Corgi Hill had an update. Corgi Hill Farms, they have an Etsy shop, and they had this one braid of roving that was more of a buttercup yellow, so a deeper yellow than a pastel, but still not as rich of a yellow as gold. So a buttercup yellow with an aquamarine blue, which is a light blue, close to a robin's egg, so it has that touch of green in it, but it's lighter and brighter than that. And those two colors together, I mean, blue and gold, Michigan colors, of course, which I love. This brings us back to football. I did watch my first football game of the season's Packers preseason. I was very excited. The Packers won. But anyway, back to roving. But it was just just the way they juxtapose the two colors, the aquamarine with the buttercup yellow. It just looks so bright and pretty, and it could be a great spring color or a great winter color. And I've got it sitting there. So there's a chance I might end up. No, I'm not gonna. I got a lot of fiber. I don't need that right now. I need to save my money for Rhinebeck. So yeah, grabby paws. Corgi Hills update. Really beautiful. In dough this week, I didn't have a dough this week. I think that having to rip back lace last week was punishment enough for the time being for the fiber gods. So nothing to report there. No pearls as knits or knits as pearls. No mucking up on the cables or mucking up on the decreases for the sweater. I've also been trying to pay more attention when I get to a part of the pattern where I actually have to think, which I think is kind of helpful. I'm still feeling the lesson from the manly lace mitts of actually reading the pattern. So I'm hoping that'll last a little bit, and I can just have a couple weeks of smooth knitting and get these get to the sleeves on the sweater and find out what's going to go on there. We still don't know. Will it or won't it fit? So that's it for dough. In where I'll be, well, it's a board meeting week, and true to form, our supervisor has scheduled 2 meetings for the week because one just isn't enough. So 2 board meetings, and Mr. Mitten has meetings that he has to go to. So it's going to be home and meetings and then work. Maybe I should say home and work and then meetings. Actually, I think home gets the short end of the stick on everything because I'll spend the least waking hours in the home, the most at work, and the second most at the meetings. But that's what the weekends are for. So that'll be just fine. And that's where I'll be. All right. In questions for the Mitten, Kath writes, Dear Miss the Mitten, it's been sweltering hot and humid here. Even knitting on the swing is not happening. I've been knitting in front of a fan, which has been the reason for my frequent stops and starts to chase after the pattern, but that isn't the problem that prompts my question. My problem this week is sticky, sweaty, yucky hands that won't allow the yarn to flow freely through my fingers. What do you do, my knitting guru, to avoid or remedy this problem? I've already tried sitting in the fridge to knit, but the darn light keeps going out when dear husband slams the door closed. I await your reply anxiously, your faithful listener, Kath. Well, Kath, don't sit in the refrigerator. You can run out of oxygen and get trapped in there, so please go back to the fan. The thing I do is I try and stay cool, and I wash my hands a lot, which tends to dry them out a bit, but it keeps them dry on these hot days. So wash your hands a lot. Another thing, if you're going to be washing your item that you're working on, you might want to try a little bit of baby powder. Keep in mind that what's on your hand does go into the fiber. So it depends on how badly you want to continue to knit or spin. Also, they say that you can put antiperspirant on your hands if they're sweaty a lot. I don't know how that would go with wool, but it is something to consider. Mostly it's just stay cool, which you should be doing anyway. Stay cool and stay hydrated. My other last ditch response to your question is allow the fiber to build up on your hands so it creates strips of felted fiber wherever your hands are really sweaty. So the fiber will naturally stick and build up and stick and build up, and eventually you'll have enough fiber on your hand that it is taking care of all the sweaty spots, and you can just go ahead and knit. Now, of course, this will be like wearing knit gloves on some of the hottest days of the year, so you might want to think about that one. But that was the last thing I could think of for that. And you know, it's not the worst thing in the world just to take the day off and not knit or not spin. I know it can drive you a little bit crazy, but you could do other fiber related things. You could sort and fluff your stash and go through everything, make sure it's in perfect order. You could go shopping for more fiber, or yarn, or browse patterns online on Ravelry. So there are, and those are just, you know, a few big things that you could do. There are many fiber related things that you could do besides the knitting and the spinning, if that's helpful at all, and I hope it is. So that's all we have for this week, and there you have it. Thanks for joining us this week. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye!